What is going on, guys? It's Jeff Martin alongside the Trendsetter Brian Berger. We are the Jersey Wrecking Crew, and we are here on the Give Us a Shot Network talking Crown Jewel. Trendsetter, what is going on, my man? Long time no speak, but man, it's good to see you, buddy.
Well, I wish I could share the same feelings
Oh, you
towards
got to
you,
start
but you
off.
know what? If for this particular moment, Jeff, I will share the same feeling for you. It's great to see you again, man. It's awesome to be back to talk about Crown Jewel. This is gonna be something really exciting because we're getting closer, Jeff, to that. You can smell the air. The autumn weather is coming along here in the Northeast, here in the New York, New Jersey area. It's a change of the season, and before you know it, it's going to be WrestleMania season. So I'm excited for this, man. This card's really good. Can't wait to break it down with you, be part of here, the crew, being part of the whole festivities with us as well. It's gonna be an exciting show, man.
Yeah, most definitely, man. From Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel this Saturday, 1 o'clock start time PM on the Peacock. So definitely looking forward to that. Early start on Saturday, so I get to watch that. I'm done with and have my Saturday night free. But you're right, man. The autumn winds, man. It's cold here in Jersey, so really good to be talking some Crown Jewel tonight with the Trendsetter, man. You can follow us on all our social media at High Spot Podcast on the Instagram and on Twitter. Of course, we're on the Give Us a Shot Network. Follow them on IG at Give Us a Shot, and also on the YouTube Give Us a Shot Network, powered by Fast Break Coffee. Trendsetter, we got a sponsor. Look at that, man. Going
Although,
big time now.
God knows we need our coffee, Jeff. The hours that we work and the crazy hours that we do these things, we need that coffee. And so thank them so much for being our sponsors, man. Jeff, does it feel like things have changed now? Does this Crown Jewel somehow feels a little bit different for me? I mean, we've had other ones where like, okay, it's kind of an obligation. It's a reason why WWE is doing it, but they're really doing a good job. I have to say it first and foremost. I'll give WWE some credit. They're doing a really good job of making these Crown Jewel events now seem pretty exciting in terms of a type of feel that a lot of these things could change storylines going into Survivor Series. Royal Rumble would be right down the road there, so pretty interesting in terms of these storylines we saw in the beginning from WrestleMania to now. A huge level of importance.
I agree. Look at that. Starting off on a good note. I agree. I think they're really doing a good job. And so obviously you're right. It is the road to WrestleMania. This is a very important crown jewel. It's going to lay the groundwork as we head into Survivor Series and into the Royal Rumble. But we're almost there. So let's quickly start off with first some stuff that's in the news trends that are in this past week on AEW Dynamite. Well, we kind of saw the special gift that Tony Khan was talking about, and that was Ric Flair. And a lot of people were thinking, hey, it could be something else because Sting's retirement is upon us. And so what we got was Ric Flair. Surprisingly, I think because you know how loyal he's been to WWE for these years, right? He's been a WWE guy for now at least 10 plus years. So to see Ric Flair in the fold and know that he is now all elite, that's got to be a little bit a little weird in the beginning, but hey, question is here: are we going to see Ric Flair in the ring? And second of all, what do you think of Tony Khan bringing in Ric Flair? Because there's this idea that this was in the works for a couple of years now, and that ever since that Dark Side episode came out with the whole airplane ride from hell, that kind of stalled things between AEW and Ric Flair, and now with Sting's retirement, we get Ric Flair in AEW. What was the first thing that you thought of when you saw it? And I'll share that in a little bit, but just want to get your thoughts on finding out that Ric Flair has signed a multi-year deal with AEW.
Well, when first initially Ric Flair came out to greet Sting, and I'm sure a lot of people kind of already saw the writing on the wall that, Sting had kind of spoken about this early on in the year that, Showtime's almost over. And that was originally what was going to happen. He announced his retirement. It was going to eventually, was the inevitable was going to happen. And then the following week, Ric Flair coming out and paying respects. I kind of thought it was most likely going to be a one-off, to be honest with you. But then when the news came out and you told me about it, I shook my head, not necessarily in disapproval, but more like, no, it didn't surprise me. I'm sure the price was right. Tony Khan has been well known for just loving uh, the nostalgia of what pro wrestling, the history behind it, and really doing his best to always pay respects to as well. When you have two legends like Sting and Ric Flair, it just makes sense. Now, again, when we first found out about it and people heard about it first, it was more like, oh wow, Ric Flair's left WWE, now he's part of AEW. Kind of similar to people kind of beginning a new chapter in their careers. But for like the Adam Copelands, I'm sure we'll talk about eventually down the road. Joining AEW now. Ric Flair is a different story because he had his last match, supposed last match, and it didn't go as well as he had hoped probably. In terms of him being in the ring, Jeff, I'll be honest with you. Listen, I'm not one to say when people should hang them up and retire. I mean, it's always a personal preference for people and their own personal choice of what they want to do. But to me, my biggest concern, if anything, is not how it's not just going to look presentation wise, but Sting has done an amazing job, regardless of the fact of his age, to still show that he can still do it at not a near close but pretty good level, where you can kind of mask some of the deficiencies, which he would be first one to admit in his ability to perform. With Ric Flair, you're just concerned of it, not just the passion of him wanting to be in the ring, but you know,
And the guy was falling asleep in the match. I know he took
yeah,
like this drink or something like that, but dude
yeah.
was falling asleep. Andrade had to wake him up
You
there.
still be in the ring? I don't know. I wouldn't want to see that myself personally, man.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of tough. I mean, like you said, you never want to tell somebody to hang them up, but the aesthetics, the look of a guy like Sting. Sting is what 64, I believe. He still looks like he's in his. Listen, I don't want to say 50s because he looks like in his 50s. He's looking in his 40s. He still has that motor, right? But Ric Flair is like a couple years way behind. And again, the last time we saw Sting and Flair. Flair was in a t-shirt, right? The last Nitro ever for WCW.
Yeah.
And so even then he really wasn't at the tip top shape. And now, talk about 20 years later, 2025, now he just, he wrestled, I think, in a shirt too in his last matchup too. So, listen,
Like you said, aesthetically wise, it's not going to look good because no matter how good Sting and Ric Flair have had so much chemistry and know each other so well, it just you can't recreate things. You can't go back in the past, unfortunately. And it's probably from a nostalgia act. People, if that eventually ends up happening, it's Ric Flair will eventually wrestle, and it might be Sting in his last match, which is the rumors I've been hearing. I don't know if it's going to come off really well though.
I I don't want to see it. Like I said, we're not ones to judge, right? We're not ones to tell you no, but it just leaves AEW wide open for those jokes, for that, so for the social media, for the wrestling Twitter to start poking fun of age again, being a main thing here, because a 64-year-old and a 70-plus-year-old in the ring is just like, why do this? Now, if you want to do 6-man tag, if you want Ric Flair to do a little spot there where he gets involved outside the ring in a managerial position, or where he's outside, fine, that's totally fine. But to put him in the ring is just way too much, man. And of course, part of the deal is that his energy drink, Woo Energy, and let me tell you something, Ric Flair's a smart businessman. Well, I mean, let's see, businessman wise, but right, I don't want to give him to his own horn, but this is a big deal for his energy drink because it's coming out, and they're going to be the official energy drink, Woo Energy, of AEW. So that's where the business side happens. And I just don't think that WWE is going to offer anything like this too. And I think Ric Flair also has the marijuana products that he has. I don't think WWE is going to like anywhere near endorse that. And I'm pretty sure it gave, they gave him his blessing. Hey, Rick, go do what you're going to do, whatever. But here's the thing, though. I don't think now if Charlotte is ever going to win, tie or break Ric Flair's championship. Remember, he said his dream was, hey, how great it would be if me and Cena are there to present Charlotte with the title, something to that end. And now it might not happen. So now if Charlotte were to tie or break the record, she's probably going to have to do it solo now because Rick has signed a multi-year deal with AEW. So, I don't want to see Ric Flair in the ring. Is it good for him? Hey, you know what? Did it help their ratings this week? No, right? But listen, hey, things are changing, bro. The landscape, you got people hopping to every company, right? The whole Edge thing was a turning point. Jade Cargill going to WWE, that was another turning point too. So we're going to see more of this as we head into 2024.
Yeah, Jeff, to the bidding war of 2024.
Which we'll talk about that, of course, down the road in future episodes, because that's also something that we're going to discuss. And I'm seeing a pattern here. I'm seeing like some hints. I'm starting to see something that, I'm going to tease in the upcoming episodes of what I think is going to happen. I think we already may know the answer already to what's going to happen in 2024. We're going to give you a little tidbit at the end of this Crown Jewel preview. That's what we're here to do. The Crown Jewel preview here on the High Spot Podcast, HSP. So Trendsetter, like you mentioned, this is a big deal in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, this Saturday on Peacock at 1 p.m. start. And listen, I just found this out a short while ago. They're going to bring back the Crown Jewel kickoffs. We're going to get a kickoff show, kickoff match, and that's going to be Sami Zayn versus JT McDonough. So a lot of involvement here with the Judgment Day. Judgment Day has been a huge part of Monday Night Raw. They are the faction now, as they have regained their undisputed tag team championships. Dirty Dom is the North American champion. Rhea Ripley is the women's champion, and Damian Priest is Senor Money in the Bank. So let's just talk about the Judgment Day and just what you've seen so far from them before we get to this preview match. Just a little quickly here, do you think we've been oversaturated with the Judgment Day? Too much Rhea Ripley, too much Dom. Just what do you think of the Judgment Day so far as we head into Crown Jewel?
Just to touch base on Dirty Dom and Mommy Rhea Ripley, I think that's probably been one of the best things that have come out of the Judgment Day. To be honest with you, you have a scenario where a superstar like Rhea Ripley and all the momentum she gained when she was in NXT, all the talk about her during the Mae Young Classic, right into NXT, becoming the NXT Women's Champion, then making it to main roster. And when she got to the main roster, it really felt like she was just kind of getting lost in the shuffle.
Which a lot of NXT stars do when they head up to the main roster.
Usually, and that's a really difficult mountain sometimes to climb out of, or a hole to dig yourself out of, because you're starting back from scratch again. But Rhea showing her tenacity and just showing how talented she is as an individual, as a person, to be able to get out of it. But it was kind of shaky there for a while. This whole thing was a new opportunity for her, and she's taking full advantage of it. Especially also for Dominic Mysterio, man. I can't remember the last time I saw somebody have that much heat. From the moment he has a microphone even close to his mouth, they're booing him out of the building. That sound is not drawn in. It's not put in post production or pre production or anything like that. It is there. People talk about it, mentioned it on social media, how real it is, and it's just great to see that happen. In terms of are they being overexposed, I guess you could say to a certain degree. I wouldn't say that though. You know why? Because it's the thing they're focusing on the more on the most. I'm sorry. You had scenario with the bloodline, the storyline, how great that was going in. People couldn't get enough of the bloodline. Now it seems like they're taking a back seat a little bit. Now we're talking about the Judgment Day, and not that the bloodline's forgotten, but now it gives a new opportunity for a newer faction, a newer group to kind of have that foresight of they're on SmackDown, they're on NXT, they're on Raw. It's kind of hard not to notice them because they're always in these main storylines. They're the main event, or they're in the middle, they're the opening the show. So, no, not to this point. I think right now we're just seeing the only tip of the iceberg with the Judgment Day in terms of what's going on here. There's just some turmoil in the trenches there between Finn and what's going on there with him and Damian, and you put in all these things here to keep it fresh, and that's what they've done a pretty good job of doing that though. So I don't think we've seen enough of the Judgment Day. I think it's just we haven't seen anything yet. And in terms of that, I think what's going on with Rhea Ripley and Dirty Dom, it's just amazing. You can't ask for.
What do you mean we haven't seen anything yet? Like you said, like the best is yet to come. The more there's more to come. Like
Yeah, because when we talked about the bloodline, Jeff, we were like, how much more can this keep going on? How dominant can they be, right? Because every single week, whether it be on Raw or SmackDown, it was always Roman, Roman, Roman. My whole thing, I'm sure a lot of people always thought, when's it going to get stale? When's it going to get boring? But WWE creative, and again, this is another one I'm going to throw to them because I know in the past I've been so tough on them, and I'm sure a lot of people have as well, of like, oh my God, it's the same thing. It's so predictable. It's not as predictable anymore. And now I'm comparing that to the Judgment Day, where it's like they're now riding that momentum. They're riding that wave of, okay, now we're going to expose them as much as we possibly can. And we're going to throw these little things at you to see if possibly, are they going to break up? Are they not going to break up? Is one going to turn on the other? Is Rhea Ripley now kind of taking over as leader? And how are the other groups going to,
conflicts are basically giving you a lot of
conflicts basically. So it's like it's interesting. It keeps it fresh each time. It's not the same thing every week.
SmackDown has, of course, the Bloodline, and Raw, of course, has their faction in the Judgment Day. And of course, we're getting Sami Zayn, who's again in the middle of another faction, trying to get in between. And Sami delivered a great promo this past Monday Night on Raw towards the Judgment Day, kind of like a lot of realism towards that. He is the rebellion, of course. That's what he's going to be towards the Judgment Day. He's going to be that person to try to break them apart, trying to, of course, try to maybe ruin another faction, right? So again, Sami Zayn and JD McDonough. I'm sorry, I apologize, not JD McDonough. And we're going to get a kickoff match. And so it's a big thing. Sami Zayn going back to Saudi Arabia. This is probably the second time now that he's been there. So that's just something that's something great in itself. But this matchup right here, JD McDonough has kind of been that outcast trying to get into the Judgment Day, kind of like the Sami Zayn part, right? He tried to get cool with the Sammy tried to get cool with the bloodline.
Yeah.
JD is doing the same thing
Well, of
with
course, not as entertaining as Sammy did
no,
it.
not as entertaining, of course.
Defense.
He's
Yeah.
no, definitely not. So he's slipping up from time to time, but he's going to be involved here in this matchup. And listen, JD McDonough, of course, we know his relationship with Finn Balor. That's what's really gotten him the one up of trying to be a part of the Judgment Day. But this is a good match. Sami Zayn and JD McDonough. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good match to kick off things. It's good to have a kickoff show again too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is a great opportunity to add another match, and the card is loaded. That's definitely what I want to say here. You were talking about before WWE's had maybe 5 matches, 6 matches tops because they want to let them breathe. But I think here we're getting 7 matches. One on the kickoff show. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on here. I think there's going to be one that when it's over, you're going to talk about it. But back to Sami Zayn and JD McDonough, though. I think this is going to be another good match. And I think Sami Zayn is going to come out victorious here. I think it's just another, not embarrassing loss, but another step back for JD. And I think Sami Zayn coming off a good showing against Damian Priest. I think that this is going to be the way that he starts his rebellion towards the Judgment Day. I think Sami Zayn gets the victory.
I would agree with that too, just for the fact that with JD, sorry, I'm saying JT now. With JD, it's a little bit different because he's still trying to work his way in. So there are going to be mistakes. He's going to have losses, some big losses, some surprising wins, right? But I think it's more pivotal for Sammy right now because with Sammy, it's just so important for him to stay, in the mind the fact that he's no longer with Kevin Owens. The whole bloodline storyline is still embedded within his story. And we thank for Cody for using the word stories now, right? We use that for every single person we're talking about now. But
Hmm.
I think it's more important for Sammy because he wants to have some relevancy still. We don't want to forget about him. He doesn't want to get lost in the shuffle here. And so by doing this as well, the performance he had with Damian, now with JD here, I just feel it's more likely that Sammy's still going to be involved and obviously trying to destroy the Judgment Day, something we thought was a flash in the pan before in the past. Now it's shown its relevancy in terms of that Judgment Day is pretty dominant because we see them all on WWE television. So I got Sammy on this one here, and it's just the beginning for him.
Yeah, I know, definitely too. Again, Sami Zayn, I think we're going to agree on this one. So we're just agreeing now. So that's pretty like a step positive in our relationship as hosts there, Trendsetter. So definitely a positive way to do it. And then we're getting to the
You
main
can just you can
show.
just accept the fact that we agree. You don't have to constantly keep addressing it because the more you keep addressing, the more you're irritating me. So some things never change.
On my bad, I'm going to get on your bad side. Then I really don't want that. I want this to go really smooth.
You're not doing a very good job, Jeff. So let's move on.
I'm a little nervous, so just want to give you a heads up here. All right, Trendsetter, we head to the Fatal 5-Way for the Women's Championship, and that is Rhea Ripley defending her title against Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Raquel Rodriguez, and Zoe Stark. This is one of those matches, Trendsetter, where Rhea Ripley doesn't have to get pinned. That's why everybody's saying, hey, this could be an opportunity where someone gets the title and Rhea Ripley doesn't have to get pinned. Now we're to the point where we kind of argue this. Well, not argue. Maybe had a little debate on whether Rhea
We
Ripley's
argue, yeah.
not her character run, but more her title run has been a successful one. Obviously, Io Sky is a champion, elsewhere on SmackDown. But Rhea Ripley, as far as being the champion, has she had the title a reign that you thought? Remember, not we're talking about title reign, not character development, because she's obviously mommy. She's obviously been amazing with that role. She's obviously must see. But here's the opportunity now to change the title. Are you happy with the title reign? I'll tell you right now, for myself, it's kind of been a little bit underwhelming. But again, remember, I'm talking about the title reign, not mommy as a character. And here is why it sets itself up for there to be a title change here at Crown Jewel. I think it's going to happen. But what do you think about Rhea Ripley so far with her title run?
In one word, I'd probably say, eh. That's the way the way it was built up of her finally defeating Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. We thought, wow. I mean, I'm not naive enough to think that she's gonna have all these numerous title defenses. The way her character was developing, and then obviously, the progression, the evolution of what the Judgment Day has done. No, I wasn't expecting her to be that way because again, she's showing her dominance. We complained about Brock Lesnar not defending the title that often, and people complained about that. How long Roman has had it, and when you really look at it, he hasn't really defended it that much. It's been very, maybe early on he did, but now it's been few and far between the times he has defended the title. So the streak continues. So from a title reign of that, if that's what you were expecting going out of WrestleMania, then yeah, you're disappointed. You're like, it's not really anything special. Because in reality now, Jeff, I think Rhea Ripley has become more than the title. So I don't really feel she needs it for storyline base, I guess, or for character development. It's cool because you want to show her as this dominant female. But I know people are gonna hate me in saying this too. But this has been a women's division that, yes, very talented. You just mentioned all the people that are going to be in it, and a returning Nia Jax after being away for quite a while. I don't know. I don't have any excitement for this match. Maybe to kind of see, oh wow, they actually take the title off her. But in terms of excited to see how the match is going to be, or is it going to be something of a show stealer? I don't. To me, this is more of just a match where like the title's on the line. Who's the champion? Oh, it's Rhea Ripley. Cool. Let's see what happens. That's the feeling for me.
All right. So do you see it? Do you sense a title change? Are you leaning to somebody? Because I'll tell you right now, I'm looking at the names here. Shayna Baszler, yes, she had that victory over Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam.
Which hasn't really done much for her anyway. They haven't really done
Zoe
anything with.
Stark, she had the tremendous showing uh with Trish Stratus, and I don't know if she was injured, but then she kind of was off TV, so that kind of momentum that she built was gone.
Yeah.
Raquel Rodriguez is still, I guess, probably a bright spot there.
But again, they tried to pin her in the tag team division. She couldn't keep Chelsea
Yeah, I
Green. She couldn't
know.
keep a partner healthy, and
Yeah.
it just worked against her. And now we're trying to think of her as now the single star when, for the majority of the time before she got into it with Rhea Ripley, she's been a tag team superstar.
And now Nia
Not
Jax is
really.
back, and she's
And nobody cares. I'll be honest. No, nobody really cares about that. I mean, she
but
had a great impact coming back, but that was about it.
she's dominated coming back, and that's why I see that she has the opportunity out of anybody. If I were to rank it, I would say Nia Jax has the best opportunity here to be the one that defeats. Not Rhea Ripley. Again, remember, guys, Rhea Ripley does not have to get pinned, so she could get the victory over somebody else, get the pin, and win. And let's be honest, too, there needs to be. I don't. The thing is with you talked about Rhea Ripley being bigger than the title, so maybe she still needs to keep this title just to make sure that she's that that governing body within the Judgment Day. Just because really there's no leader, but she carries a lot of weight in that group, so maybe that title kind of represents her status. So I want to say there's gonna be a title change. I'm leaning towards it. I wouldn't be surprised if Rhea Ripley keeps it, but let me be different here. That's what we're trying to be, right? Different. We want to give you another point of view. I say Nia Jax walks away and becomes the new women's champion. What do you think about that? That's my pick if anything were to happen.
Hey, listen, I'm trying to be more logical. I know logic in wrestling doesn't really exist, but I'm trying to be more realistic here in terms of what does it mean more to put a title on someone like Nia Jax, for example, who has had a dominant return. The only thing that works against Nia Jax is when she grabs the microphone, and this isn't a slight on her. Just
Good. She's been
promos,
pretty good.
her promos haven't been great, but I think okay, that's the case. But how many times have we seen this before, Jeff, where they've shown Nia Jax in this dominant form, and yet it hasn't worked itself out for
Big-
that? In terms of if Nia wins the title at Saudi Arabia, right, at Crown Jewel, okay, what does it do? If she doesn't pin Rhea Ripley, then in my opinion, it doesn't really mean too much. And right now, with the momentum of the Judgment Day, them having all the titles, what's going to happen with Money in the Bank? You have the tag team titles. Dom as the North American champion. I think the WWE wants to keep them as this dominant, similar to the Bloodline. Hey, comparing the two, but it's there. Like they have all the gold, and if you lose that with Rhea Ripley, you said it yourself too. She kind of loses her status within the group to a certain degree because then Mommy lost all the
She can't
gold.
make
So
matches no more. Basically, what you're trying to
nah,
say. That title. But what I mean, so like a prediction here: are you gonna go safe with Rhea, or are you
nah,
gonna pick it
sticking
out?
with Rhea, man.
Rhea?
Makes more sense to do that.
All
Keep
right,
Rhea. Rhea.
Trendsetter going with Rhea Ripley. Can't blame you, man. I'm just trying to go outside the box and think here logically. Where's the best way where there could be a title change? So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna give it a shot and say Nia Jax walks away the women's champion. So we'll leave it at that. Now, a matchup that I think to me is going to be the one to steal the show, and why not? Because let's be honest, this guy has been nothing but magic since he's even made it to WWE, and that's Logan Paul, a guy that say what you say about him, say what you say about him and his brother. You know how I felt beforehand. These YouTube influencers, man, trying to get into boxing, trying to do this and that, and they're not really athletes. Well, you know what? They're freaking athletes, and I know Logan Paul is definitely a sports entertainer. So I want to talk about the matchup for the U.S. Championship: Rey Mysterio Jr. Rey Mysterio defending against Logan Paul. I think I was watching WCW matches. I think with too much of something to wrestle with or something like that, and they were talking about Halloween Havoc, and that's where I think I got mixed up. So Rey Mysterio and Logan Paul at Crown Jewel, I think this is going to steal the show. Hopefully they give him the time. I think they will, but I think we're going to get a new United States champion. Why? Because it's the realistic thing to do. It makes the most sense. Logan Paul is going to take the U.S. championship and he's going to put it on his podcast. He's going to promote it everywhere he goes. I mean, for him to promote it after his boxing match a few weeks ago, and saying he's coming for the U.S. championship. I'll tell you one thing about Triple H. He's really making those secondary titles mean something. And how much have I told you, Trendsetter? They got to make that Intercontinental title mean something. They got to make that U.S. championship mean something. And never have I been fully, I guess, satisfied with that. It's always been okay, and then pull it back, and then we get back to these crappy title runs and these crappy matches, whatever. But Triple H is finally, even before, since last year, we're making these titles mean something.
Yeah.
And you might hate Logan Paul, but it will mean so much more that U.S. championship for Ray to do the honors to Logan Paul and have Logan carry that title for at least a good while here and a good run.
Listen, I don't care what anybody says about Logan Paul, and I'll steal a quote from Jesse the Body Ventura. Finally, after Crown Jewel, we have a U.S. championship we can be proud of. Honestly, we can, because look, the scenario Logan Paul, you hate him, you love him, whatever. Don't talk over me, Jeff, because then tell you when you can talk. It's amazing because Logan Paul has that ability to draw people to you. Now, again, hey, Rey Mysterio Jr. He's a great champion, right? He's a great champion in terms of what he's done in his career. He's a Hall of Famer, living Hall of Famer, right? But with Logan Paul as champion, you now have people outside of the WWE universe that want to see this now, because Logan will take that title with him everywhere. He'll take it on his podcast, which is amazing. He'll the next commercial they have Prime will have the U.S. title in there. Everywhere he goes, people will see him in terms of the base of the popularity he has, and they'll want to tune into WWE. So makes the most sense from a business standpoint. And hey, we have to do what's best for business, right, Jeff? And this is what's best for business, to have Logan Paul as our new United States champion. What a great representative of the United States than a guy like Logan Paul. Because you know what, Jeff? He's living the dream. He's that entrepreneur that everybody wants to be, him and his brother. People want to, bash on him, hate on him. I don't care what you want to say about him. Go ahead. If you don't like the personalities, you don't like that they're cocky. It's a difference between being cocky, Jeff, and confident. These guys are confident, especially Logan Paul. He's in there, and I know people are going to hate him. A lot of traditionalists are going to say he has no business being in the ring. He hasn't paid his dues, blah, blah, blah. Dude, he goes in there and draws eyeballs. He wants people, he makes people pay money to go see him. That's what you want in a star. He carries himself like a star, and he's in the ring, and it looks like he's done it for his whole life. And he even admits on his podcast, like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing out there, but you could have fooled me, because from the general standpoint, you look like $1 million, and that's what they've done with him. So I have Logan Paul coming away as the new WWE United States champion. Couldn't happen to a better person.
And say what you want to say about all the other wrestlers that say, "Oh, well, if I had a month to train for this matchup, obviously he goes to the PC and he trains." That's fine, but you got to perform and do it.
Yeah.
He fine, he trains, but he's got to go out there. He's got to go out there in front of a WrestleMania audience and still do it. You know what I mean?
God, and you know how much I hated Bad Bunny, but I have to give Bad Bunny the respect. He's only had 2 matches in WWE, and he's won it.
Guy.
They've been amazing. They've been awesome. A lot of credit goes to do with the people they're in the ring with too. But these guys, go in there and they do the work. You said it yourself. They love it, and it showcases there. As opposed to somebody just coming in doing it for kind of like just publicity. Logan Paul puts the time in. Although, granted, he's not a veteran. He hasn't done this for a very long time, not if ever. Pat McAfee and Bad Bunny. Who's going to complain, man? It draws eyes to people. People love watching it.
Obviously, too. One day we should do a ranking. We should do the top celebrities, rank the top celebrities that have performed in WWE ring, and rank them 1 to 5. I think that would be a great little thing that we do. Hey,
Yeah.
idea. Bookmark that, Trendsetter. So yeah, we both think Logan Paul is going to walk away. It's the right thing to do. I think that's why you have Rey Mysterio carry that belt, because it's going to go get the rub from somebody and get the rub from Rey Mysterio, a legend, a WWE Hall of Famer, ooh, Logan Paul's star is going to just rise even more. And you talk about a guy that could be there full time now. He was talking about that. He's considering himself as a full time guy. So it'd be great to see what happens. But again, another thing too is WWE do not oversaturate us with Logan Paul. You know what I mean? I like Logan in this kind of, from time to time. I don't think listen, I think everyone's used to seeing their champion on SmackDown or on Raw every week, right? But what's
Yeah.
wrong with, that special attraction? That's what a heavyweight champion, that's what a champion does. He doesn't defend it all the time. That's another thing too that we got to talk about too. This whole thing, this whole slack about Roman Reigns and he doesn't defend it. Oh, this sounds so eerily familiar to Brock Lesnar,
Right.
right? Oh, he's not around, whatever. Like, so what? Do you need to see him on TV every week due to promo? I mean, what is that? Then be like, oh, he's born with. Listen, the only thing WWE is don't oversaturate Logan Paul because again, he's a special attraction too, and I think it makes the belt more important if he's there from time to time.
Yeah, listen, I was the first person to be more of a traditionalist. I had to get over the mindset a long time ago that I was no longer under WWE's demographic anymore, and it was a bitter pill to swallow because I was like, I want to see wrestling. I don't want to see sports entertainment. Sports entertainment was a dirty word for me. Now it's the reality. It's the combination of both. You have the traditionalists that will watch it, the diehard cores that will watch it no matter what, and still complain about it, whether they see wrestling or they don't. Whoever comes out on top, or whatever direction they decide to go with, whatever title, whatever character, right? But now I see it from different eyes now, similar to how John Cena would talk about The Rock. I see it from different perspectives because now I see it from the perspective of when Brock Lesnar was champion. Every time you saw Brock Lesnar, it was a special moment. Roman Reigns. When was the last time we saw somebody this dominant and people were like, "Oh my God, can we get the title off them?" Because that's always been people have always complained about wanting to have long, drawn out storylines, and as soon as it started happening, they were complaining, "Oh well, we want to change it." Well, I think that's another thing I have to actually give another positive for WWE in terms of what they're doing. They're going in with those long storylines, the dominance of Roman Reigns, the dominance of guys like Gunther, the importance of the U.S. title. It's gone back and forth from a couple people, but still the people holding on to it. Even Austin Theory,
Chagrin.
I'll defend him. It didn't go out the way he wanted to, but still, it was gives you the ability. Whoever has that title is an important person, and that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, man. So obviously that is going to be. I think it's going to steal the show if they're given the time. Definitely think that's going to be the one to watch. Let's talk about the other women's championship that's on the line. Io Sky and the returning Bianca Belair. Listen, from what we've seen, from all the way to Backlash, they love Io Sky. Is she that popular person because maybe of the language barrier that an Asuka has been? No. Is she? She's definitely growing on fans. She's growing on me. I enjoy her ring work. Obviously, she's in Damage Control. Bailey's been very instrumental or detrimental, depending on what point of view you see it from, towards her title run.
Yeah.
You're kind of thinking that Bailey, is she really looking out for Io's best needs here? But you got returning Bianca Belair, who's taking some time off, is back, gets put in this title scene here at Crown Jewel. But I just find it hard to believe that they're going to take the title away. But I think that there's another chance that Bianca Belair becomes a champion again. There's really two sides to this, which you can make a great argument for both.
Mm-hmm.
What happens? I'm going to go another outside the box and take a chance that Bianca Belair walks away as the new champion. So I'm going to go Bianca Belair winning this one. Trendsetter, tell me why not.
Look, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened because of how much love they have for Bianca Belair and how much her character is really important. And when she was champion, you see all the kids dressed up like her, and then the momentum in terms of merch sales and things like that. I get that, but for Io, before I talk about Io Sky, I think she comes out on top though because I really feel that early on, if it was gonna be like a flash in the pan, then she was going to succumb to like Charlotte Flairs or the higher level performers, not the high level, but the more well known ones that we all know because we've all known scenarios where people like Io or scenarios where people come from NXT have that momentum and then it quickly dies and then they move on into another direction, right? With her, it's different, and let's give credit where credit is due. As much as hey, I like Io Sky as well. I enjoy what she does in the ring. I think she's an amazing performer. But I think all the credit goes to Bailey. I think Bailey
Underrated.
has done an amazing job of, in a way, still keeping the spotlight on her, but kind of putting it on there and giving her stamp of approval showcasing how great Io Sky is. And now, because Dakota Kai is still injured, but she's still, within the group, she can't wrestle. It's all focused on her, and then it still leaves that ability of when's Bailey gonna turn on her friend, the type of thing. So you still have that ability there. It's still there. They kind of address it a little bit too, that Bailey's making decisions for you and Io's not really agreeing with it or asking not to do this. So those things are thrown in there too. But I think Io right now is on a little bit of a tidal wave of momentum, and I don't think they get off that. So I have Io coming out on top here.
Bailey could do something where she thinks she's helping Io Sky and then doesn't, though. That could
Yeah.
set up a little, like you're talking, a little bit more of a dissension between Io and Bailey. So you got to watch out for that, I think. So that's why I'm gonna go Bianca Belair. Listen. I'm feeling like I want to roll the dice today. You know what I mean? That's why I'm going outside the box. I'm rolling the dice, baby. So that's what I think is gonna happen. But again, even on these matches, you can say, "Whoa, this is a pretty stacked pay per view," but it just keeps getting better and better. And I'm not
Look
kidding.
at all the matches we've talked about, Jeff. Not one of them supposedly. A lot of them seem like okay. There's no question. It's pretty predictable, but not really because you've given the other side of it.
Yeah,
You've let people say, Bianca could come out on top, or Ray could end up retaining the title, and the scenario Logan doesn't win, but the interesting thing about us breaking down this card is I remember Jeff way in the back in the past, we'd be doing this, and it all seemed predictable. This person's gonna win, this
I
person's
mean,
gonna win.
it's a good.
Now it's not that route anymore. It's not 100% guaranteed. Like I told you, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave it to Bianca. I'm sure people would be like, "Oh, you took it away from Mio," but again, that creates the excitement in watching these matches. And when you and I are talking about it, it can go either way.
Yeah, exactly. You can go either way. That's where I try to make the best case scenario. And again, I'm feeling lucky, so I want to roll the dice real quick. The women's division, Shayna Baszler said that this is probably the most talented women's division in pro wrestling. I'm pretty sure Twitter's having a field day with not Twitter. X now is having a field day with that. Social media is having a field day with ranking what company has the best women's division.
Yeah.
Talk about somebody that left there, and Ronda Rousey. She kind of is wrestling on her own in other companies. That's pretty interesting as we go down the road in more episodes and kind of discuss her. She has an upcoming tag team match coming up. Her and coming up in a tag team match, Marina Shafir and Athena, and I think it's Ty Valkyrie, I believe, in a wrestling promotion. And it's just kind of weird that maybe she really was frustrated with creative. Maybe she was at a point where like they were listening to her ideas because everything was a bed of roses when she first came in, right? Had the tag team match with Kurt Angle and Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. And all of a sudden, like that bloom came off the rose. And Ronda Rousey just, I guess, whether her matches were cut short, maybe creative wasn't paying attention. You can sense there was a bit of frustration on her way out. And when you look at the way the women's division is now, Triple H is really making an effort to give other girls their storylines because you see girls intermix now on Raw, on SmackDown. You see more females being involved. So maybe Ronda Rousey kind of left a little bit too early. But hey, she's happy right now. But it's kind of weird though that Ronda Rousey left and now she's wrestling. I thought she would retire, once she left WWE.
Well, that was the talk about it, right? The fact that when she left WWE and her contract expired and she left, she was going to retire, continue on, probably starting to add an addition to her family and all that stuff. There were rumors that she was going to possibly come back to the UFC and have one more go at it, and those were debunked pretty early that she's fully retired there as well. And I'm not surprised, but I'll be honest, and this isn't a slight on Ronda Rousey. I know in the beginning I've kind of been against the whole Ronda Rousey situation, but I understood what it meant for business. It drew eyes, it drew money. So I wasn't a huge discreditor of Ronda Rousey. I just thought a lot of things she did when she came to the microphone and stuff like that wasn't great. But again, what am I to expect from Ronda? She's that's not her part of her personality, right? So part of me was like, oh wow, cool, but not don't really doesn't really matter because the momentum she had leading into WrestleMania 35 in that women's main event, and as soon as it was over and she went away, any momentum she had, because that storyline was people were excited about that too because Ronda was showing true frustration, and it came out in her promos, which I thought was a better performance because it was reality depicts it in fiction or kind of close together in that respects. But ever since she came back, just people I felt personally would look at her and that those pops weren't that high anymore, and people were like, Ronda's back.
I-
She'll be
you
here for a certain amount of time and leave. So I think people already knew she was only there for a short period of time and didn't really care about it anymore.
So here's my thing. I think that social media is so much more easier on you when you're on the independents. And I think that's where her true love was. That when you're in that microscope of WWE, and she always has a lot to say. She's the one. She's the kind of person who's going to fire back at the audience, at the people that are on Twitter, on
Right.
X, and on Instagram, and on all social media. She's going to fire back. She's going to clap back, right? So I think there's less of that when you go do the indies, and that's where she started out loving it. She would go to the PWG shows. She was there. And I'm sorry. So she's wrestling for the Wrestling Revolver. So let's make sure that I don't want to sound like, oh, he doesn't know what promotion she's. So it's the Wrestling Revolver that she's wrestling for, and it's not Ty Valkyrie. It's Billy Starks. So it's gonna be Athena and Billy Starks against Marina Shafir and Ronda Rousey.
Right.
Revolver. So that's again. So back to the women's division, though. I mean, we just talked about two great women's matches, and like I said, this card is stacked, bro. I'm sounding like Vince Russo. This card is stacked, bro. And
Yeah.
then we head
You can
to
watch a lot of his podcasts, haven't you?
I have actually,
Bro, this card is stacked, bro.
let's talk about John Cena and the guy dressed up for Halloween, Solo Sikoa. This is Solo's first match singles on a premium live event. Sorry if I sound robotic there. I just really want to make the emphasis. Cena and Solo Sikoa, my boy Solo. Man, look at that. I really did look like Solo on Halloween. We'll post that up there to the audience of how I dressed there for Halloween. But man, I look like Solo. Anyways, John Cena's maybe final hurrah in WWE for a while. SmackDown was his last appearance. And John Cena's getting that warm reception, man. I'm telling you, man. Like after all that hate for so many years, now the love and the thank yous, finally realizing that John Cena is an all-time great, the GOAT. We can discuss, you can argue about that.
Yeah,
That's what
we
he's
argue
going
about
with.
that a lot. But
But I want to say this is a good send-off for John, and he really hasn't gotten a lot of victories recently.
yeah.
His last go to WrestleMania, he put over Austin Theory. And here's a chance where if this is going to be goodbye, as much as this would be tremendous for Solo Sikoa, if this is John Cena's swan song for now, I don't see him losing this one. I see him beating Solo because this is kind of redemption. John Cena's got to know. He's got to know if he's still got it. I know that he's still got a little bit more in him before he really hangs him up. But if this is it for a while, I don't see John Cena losing again. So as much as I want Solo to get this one, it's very important for Solo. This would be a very good win for Solo. I think that John Cena is going to get this victory at Crown Jewel. For some reason, I just think that this is his proof that he still got it. Is retirement down the road? It could be very near. But John Cena's got to believe in himself, redemption, I guess. And I think he beats Solo Sikoa. And I love John. And it hurts to say it, though, for Solo. But I think John's going to win.
I think it's the first time I've ever heard you actually say publicly that you love John Cena.
I
After all
love
the years we watched him, I can't
So
stand this guy. I hate his character. Yeah, I really didn't want to see him anymore because I was so tired of him. The Super Cena thing, it was just so annoying. But
you love him.
reality,
You love him.
but no, in reality though, every single time I criticized John Cena on this show, it was always about the character and the way creative was positioning him because I thought it was unfair to other talent. It was never against the guy John Cena who's done amazing things with the Make a Wish Foundation, things that he'll never take credit for. He does it because he wants to, and you just see the kind of person he is towards his fans and the people that have been with him since the beginning, right? So nothing but respect there for John Cena. I don't agree with you here, Jeff, because here's the scenario:
Well,
John Cena's always been
giving.
I never agree with you, Jeff. I
Giving.
never do. I just make it sound as if I do, right? To kind of boost your ego because I know you need all the help you can get.
Yes.
But the scenario is here, though, Jeff. If John Cena is someone who's so passionate and loves the business so much, and the whole thing that's been kind of foreshadowing is a potential retirement down the road. He's like, this isn't my last one, but you never know what it's going to be. So it creates that level of wow. Every time I see John Cena, it could be the last one. And it's funny how the people have now changed, where the John Cena sucks things have now been a term of affection towards him, similar to Angle sucks too. During when Angle came back from being away for so long, and he was in the Hall of Fame for that. For John Cena now, it's more of like we know the end is inevitable. It's near. Will it happen at Crown Jewel? I don't believe so, but I think that's his way. If it's the end for now, what better thing can you do for the business than to put somebody like Solo Sikoa over, meaning having him get the win? And I think Solo has the scenario where he is showing his dominance in the ring. They're showcasing him now in a more important level, outside the bloodline to a certain degree, although he is part of that group. I think this is Solo. This is Solo's to take. This is Solo's opportunity to say, you know what? If I want to be up there with my brothers and my cousin Roman, I got to not only just beat John Cena, but destroy him as well to
Oh,
kind of get over there. And what has John done? Is despite anything people want to think about and say about John Cena, and hey, I was always one that speculated that as well, of trying to push people down. What did he do for Austin Theory? What did he do coming back for Roman Reigns? What is it that he knows he's not that guy anymore? He's not going to be the main star. So what can he do now is give the rub to others because it doesn't do anything for him. Look at all the losses he's had. I think he hasn't had one big win since he came back. I believe it was at SummerSlam with Roman and they had that match with him. He hasn't had that,
loss after loss. That's what I'm saying.
and it
Like,
doesn't hurt him because you know what? He's already built his legacy. He doesn't need that. And now the whole scenario is like, do I got it anywhere? Do I don't? It pivots on real emotion that he has. And I think when he loses at Crown Jewel and Solo comes out victorious and hopefully a dominant fashion, it's gonna question, have we seen the last of John have we seen, let me compose myself here. Have we seen the last of John Cena? And then it just leaves you in that level of suspense. John Cena, just like The Rock or Austin, whoever, the greatest thing about performers, the all time greats, and I guess we consider John Cena an all time great, as we discuss that later on in a future episode, most likely. They know when to walk away. They want you. They leave wanting you to want more, and that's what's going to happen here. Do we want to see John Cena in the twilight of his career and losing and losing? No, but in this scenario, maybe he steps away. Maybe he never comes back. If he never comes back and loses to Solo, an amazing career. It doesn't hurt him. But if he goes away, gets dominated, or gets just beaten clean, and then kind of doubts himself and coming back, just makes more excitement for when he does eventually return again.
it's that famous line where Solo will be there next week. But what about John?
Yeah.
So yeah. So listen, great perspectives, guys. I want you guys to get in the convo. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at High Spot Podcast and give us a shot on their IG and the Give Us a Shot Network is where you can find us. Powered by Fast Break Coffee.
Hmm.
I need some coffee now, but I'm really so wired for this preview show that I don't need it right now. But I'm going to get some Fast Break Coffee after this. Join the convo. Let us know what you think. These are two great, perspectives that we're giving you. And man, we're just so pumped for Crown Jewel, man, because you're right. We are getting close to. And listen, I haven't been
I can't
excited.
remember the last time I said that. I'm actually psyched up for
I know.
Crown.
I'm sorry. It's just good to be wrestling. It's a fan
Yeah.
right now. Whatever you follow, right? When we talk about AEW in future episodes, we'll be excited about that as well because they have a lot of great stuff going on too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a good time, man. Just be a fan, right? And you think that would be the match, the card in itself, but we got two more matches, Trendsetter, to get to. Let's talk about Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion, against Drew McIntyre. And I want to say this here because this is another matchup where there's so much in the background to discuss. I think, did you see that video for Drew that they did for him? I mean, kudos to whoever did that video of Drew McIntyre saying it's going to do whatever talking about the pandemic, talking about an unfulfilled championship run, beating Brock Lesnar in front of no one. This is being his moment at Crown Jewel to kind of basically, if he has to break Seth Rollins back, he will. A man who is on that verge of that, on the fringe of being that heel character, and a guy who has got a lot at stake here. There's more for Drew to lose here. And talk about the backdrop, Trendsetter. He has not signed an extension. He is gone before WrestleMania if he chooses to. And WWE is taking, listen, this is what we say. There could be an agreement. This could be a CM Punk there. Right? WWE would not put stock in somebody if they knew they were leaving. And so that's why it's tough, though, to think that Drew McIntyre can beat Seth Rollins. But if you're going to pull the trigger and you're going to do it, this would be a great time to do so. This would make a great chance for Drew McIntyre to go into the next phase of his character, which I think it's going to be a heel character. And you know what? Maybe Seth Rollins can chase it at Survivor Series, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think this is why this watch Crown Jewel, folks. You can't miss this one because this is going to set the stage up for Survivor Series. It's going to set the stage up for the future of the next 6 months. You've I think that if they're going to pull the trigger on Drew, this is when he's going to do it. But that whole thing, that extension, is what's going to get people talking. They're going to be like, he hasn't signed yet. Why would they do that? Is he AEW bound? Afterwards. I personally think Drew loves WWE. We saw it when he came back to NXT. We were there a few hours before in the streets of Orlando, and Drew was in his gear, and he was excited. He was excited for something, and this has been his mission to go and build himself outside of WWE to come back to WWE. Why? I know he's been frustrated. Why would he want to leave? Right? Why would he want to leave? This is his dream. So I think that it's in the works. I think he's going to sign an extension in the next month or so. I think it's been agreed upon, just not signed. And I think you're going to get a brand new world champion, man. And I think it doesn't hurt Seth Rollins. I think they can use the back as a reason why. And then there's nothing wrong with Seth chasing it at Survivor Series. But I think this is the time to pull the trigger on Drew. I see a new champion. I think this is going to be. I'm getting excited, man, for Crown Jewel, man. I think this is going to be a good match.
I'm torn on this one though, because in the scenario of everything you've done for Seth, and Seth's an interesting character, you know why? Because originally when he did this, people were against him, and now he's gone full blown babyface, and this is a babyface that works for him because it works for him because before every single time he did this run, it was never authentic, and I still think honestly that Seth's a better heel than he is a babyface, but this run's working for him right now. He wants to be a fighting champion, but the whole back thing, they've been kind of saying it to nauseum with the whole Shinsuke Nakamura angle to now. What I can say though is that I am loving this version of Drew McIntyre. This is the version I wanted to see coming back. I didn't want to see him with the sexy Scotsman and making the jokes and dancing with the New Day, and the sword thing was cool and all, but I want to see Drew McIntyre, the badass, the guy who doesn't apologize for anything. He's going out there. He wants what he wants. He wants to be the champion. He talked about being a champion and never having his moment. He had his moment. He had his WrestleMania moment in front of nobody. That he is the only person that could say he's had all this handed to him, and could easily say he was never getting a fair shot because of the pandemic. There's nobody out there. There's no audience out there to watch, and I never had his ability to do it. This version, I think it's drawn out the way it is that you could see it, but again, you throw in the in the equation the whole contract situation. What's going on? Are they going to do it? It's similar to CM Punk. If he wins, does he walk out with the title, or does he sign with AEW? Does he go to TNA back there? Or whoever knows where he might go or where he may not go. But I am loving this version of Drew McIntyre. This is the version I always wanted to see, and I only hope and pray that we get the payoff for it, which is him beating Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins could take some time off because they are milking the back injury. They're all talking about that as well. We could see him closer to Royal Rumble or Survivor Series, like you said. And now we can have a scenario where Drew McIntyre is the main guy on Raw for the time being. And what a great moment that would be for Drew, where he has his moment in Saudi Arabia. It's not in the States, but in Saudi Arabia, I thought, if we're going to pull the trigger, it was when he faced
Yes.
Roman.
Yeah.
That was going to be then, right? But it wasn't. But my God, in scenarios, and this is the frustrating thing about this whole situation, Jeff, that I'm not trying to be a favorite here and say, oh, I love, because I do love Drew McIntyre. I love him since he started in this business. I just like, man, so much untapped potential there. I still don't think we've seen the best of it, but this version of him is probably the best version I've ever seen, the version I've always wanted to, and it would be awesome if he won it. But with all that being said, I don't think that he's going to go in that direction because
Oh,
when they took that shot with him, when he threw Roman Reigns over the top rope of the Royal Rumble, you saw that crowd, and I was like, oh my God, Jeff, we're going to go to Tampa and he's going to beat Brock Lesnar. That crowd's going to go even crazier. But it didn't happen. And there's nobody to blame here. Certain things happen out of your control. But Mike, because I don't think sometimes you don't get a second chance like that again. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen for Drew. I have Seth Rollins coming out on top on this one.
all right, man. Lots of differentiating opinions, man, and I love it. We made the pitch. I made the pitch for Drew. Trendsetters made the pitch for both, and chooses Seth Rollins. Man, who is going to come out victorious? Again, so many questions heading into Crown Jewel. And then, of course, you've got my tribal chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. And let's be honest, we've missed him dearly on SmackDown, and he finally came back. And now all of a sudden, this up and coming guy in LA Knight is all of a sudden this kind of Austin esque, a mixture of The Rock, a mixture of the Attitude Era, and he's got the fans by storm, and he's the alleged next big thing, right? But then he's got to take on the task of maybe the most dominant champion of our generation. Boy, am I making this? Am I setting this up or what, Trendsetter? Roman Reigns and LA Knight. LA Knight has so much steam. So many people have tried. Was it Cody Rhodes' time at WrestleMania last year to finish the story? Didn't get the job done, unfortunately. I've got a track jacket that says he didn't get the job done. um, so many have tried, so many have failed, and LA Knight, are they going to do this? To me, if you're going to do this, you'd probably do it at the Royal Rumble or you do it at a Mania, at Crown Jewel. Listen, I don't know how they're going to do it where LA Knight doesn't lose momentum, but the Tribal Chief ain't losing to LA Knight. I'm sorry. LA Knight, God bless him. I respect his work, a veteran of the ring who's been given the opportunity, and so far he's taken that ball and he's dunked it. He's killed every promo. He just has that you can't teach that charisma in the ring. But he ain't losing. The Tribal Chief ain't losing to LA Knight. I'm sorry. Uh, what do you think? And just put it simply there. LA Knight's not beating Roman freaking Reigns.
I'll try to keep it as short as possible here, but haven't we been down this road before, Jeff, where things that become predictable necessarily are the ones that surprise us? When people are like, "Oh, there's no way, let's move on. We're moving on to Survivor Series. We're moving on to Rumble. We're moving on to what's gonna happen at Mania," and then all of a sudden, oh my God, they did it. I think that's what people felt like when Roman finally had lost in that title match, and he lost to the Usos. He was finally pinned. For how long? We thought, oh, this guy's never gonna get pinned until he actually loses the title, and it happened. Like, whoa, it kind of drew people back because that's what has been happening nowadays. That's why when we do talk about this card, listen, guys, I'll be honest with you. When Jeff and I were talking about cards before in the past, I'm not just singling out here Saudi Arabia. We talked about cards before in the past. It was always like, okay, well, we know this person's going to go over and this person's going to go over. And there's no doubt whatsoever. And as much as I tried my very best to build doubt and to build reasoning behind it, we knew it wasn't going to go that direction because we knew who was running it back there. Oh, Vinnie Mac, right? But now with new creative, new people running it, they're kind of, I wouldn't say they're trying to appease the die hardcores or try to appease the wrestling fans or the main crowds or who they want to win. They have their priorities, they have their reasons, and they have their storylines and the business they want to do. But because it becomes that way now, it's unpredictable. And it's so easy. I'm sure everyone else who talks about this match is like, Elena has no shot. Well, it was a great run while it lasted. When he loses this, he'll be back down to the mid card. But as much as I wanted it to be Cody, as much as I wanted it to be, Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, as much as I wanted it to be, name a person that came in the scenario of Roman Reigns' title reign, and they made it believable that it was possible to happen. Drew McIntyre, there's the other guy I forgot to mention, who's now going for the world title. I don't know, man. It's a toss up though, because the way they're building it is, as much as people want to call LA Knight a flash in the pan, especially after this will be put back in his place, is what I've been hearing. I don't know if that's the case because very few times do you have enough people that are just like natural stars. And LA Knight coming from NXT to here, really having nothing, not really giving anything, kind of working his way up, and people see that and they appreciate that. So I would have to say I hate to agree with you, but I would say yeah, I would really think Roman comes out on top of here. It's not going to be clean. I think you still want to protect LA Knight for that particular reason, but I don't think he's going to be the guy who overtakes it. But who knows? Before we
Sort
know this at 1 o'clock inside Arabia, like the Twitter world will be on our phones. It's like, what the heck just happened? I can't believe they did that. It is possible. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Well, like around 4 o'clock, we could be shocked or not, but most likely we're going to get Roman Reigns walking away with the Undisputed Universal Championship. Whoa, Trendsetter, I really thought you were going to pick LA Knight. The way you were going kind of swerved me there towards the end because I'm like, okay, he's making these cases. And let's be honest, Trendsetter, the main reason why I don't think that LA Knight's walking away with it is just goes back to the whole Cody story, right? They didn't want to switch because they're like, well, if Cody wins, then what? they kind of want to build him up, and they would kind of want to make
Yeah, but
this.
a lot can happen from a year from now. We thought prior to that,
I
Sammy
get
could have
that.
won at Elimination
But
Chamber.
if LA Knight wins, then what? He's already peaked, right? They don't. They still want to continue that chase, right? It's to get it too fast too soon. Okay, so then what for LA Knight, right? I mean,
Mm.
it would just be. I think it would kind of be like, well, okay, if LA Knight, then what? The same thing you mentioned with Cody that's saying, hey, if Cody won at WrestleMania last year in LA, then what? So I would say that kind of would have to go to the same thing with LA Knight. What would you do next with
No,
LA Knight?
I get all that, Jeff. I'm just saying that the fact that sometimes they'll be like, you know what, we'll deal with it when it happens. I mean, for the whole Cody scenario, we thought that was going to happen, but like you said, even Dustin Reynolds said it as well. If he'd won it, so what? Then what would have happened? He would have had nothing to fight for. He wouldn't have had this guy who's working his way back to the main title picture. LA Knight might be in the same situation though. It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think it's going to happen though. Because again, with Sami Zayn, with Cody, with Seth Rollins, LA Knight, LA Knight has had this momentum and has this connection with the audience. Now, does that go away after Crown Jewel if he does end up losing? I don't know. I don't think so. I guess in the manner in which it happens, because as much as people want to say wins and losses don't matter, in reality, they kind of don't. In the manner in which it happens and how you're viewed afterwards towards it does matter. But yeah, I don't see Roman losing this title, and don't see it happening. Who knows? Maybe after Mania. you
Well,
know,
again, though, there you go. After me is a thing because you got to take this into consideration too. If everyone what they're reporting is true, we're not seeing Roman Reigns wrestling till 2024. So this is it. So make sure you watch Crown Jewel because that's the last time you're going to see the Tribal Chief in a match
Yeah.
for the rest of 2024. So
He runs on our schedule.
this is the last episode that we're going to do the 2024. Give us a shout.
Exactly.
You never know. We'll show up here and there, but 2024 is
Hopefully not.
um. So there you go. If that is, enjoy Roman Reigns because you won't see him till next year, which is a few months away, anyways. Though,
That's why
so
the solo thing is so important because Solo wins, dude. Him and Jay and Jimmy, they'll take over the ship until Roman comes back eventually. So
I'm not saying that he won't be on SmackDown, but you're not going to see another match involved with our Tribal Chief. So enjoy it because this is the last time, supposedly, that we're going to see Roman Reigns have a match in 2023. Guys, man, again, I can't tell you enough how excited we are about this. We are looking forward to Crown Jewel this Saturday, 1 p.m. start on Peacock. So by 4 o'clock, 4:30, we'll probably do an IG live and talk about this. We'll see where we're going to do it. So just follow our social media platforms and double check when we'll be on. But we'll be on after Crown Jewel. So, stay tuned for that. We'll put our predictions on social media as well. But make sure you follow us on all our social media at High Spot Podcast. HSP is back, folks, on Give Us a Shot Network on YouTube. Follow them on their IG at Give Us a Shot. And again, man, looking forward to a great time watching wrestling on Saturday. So,
but you know what I'm looking forward to too, besides that main event, Jeff, and as exciting as it is, I'm looking forward to this. How could you forget our boy? Our boy.
I'm wrapping up and I'm forgetting about
I know. Our boy, Cody, man.
so
Cody's also
excited.
got a match too, bro.
There's so many matches. I apologize. Thank you, Trendsetter. I almost had egg on my face there. I'm a little rusty doing these shows.
It's all right, man. But our boy's wrestling, Damian Priest. The
Well, you know
story,
what?
he's back on the road, Jeff. He's back on the road. He said it to in a promo, a very passionate one, that
I'm
it
so
goes through Damian Priest.
so mad at Cody for losing at Mania. That's why I probably like trying to.
Yeah, he just put it away. Like,
Cody Rhodes and Senior Money in the Bank to the Trendsetter. Thank you for saving me from probably the subscribers and give a shot saying, "Whoa, what about Cody?" Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest. We're talking about the Judgment Day. We're talking about how much of an impact they're having on this card. Cody Rhodes, man, we just talked about him and how he could be the guy at Mania that finishes the story.
yes, and then we found out he was on the card too.
Wow, who would have thought? Cody, listen, I mean, you can't hurt the man. I mean, you break his leg, he comes back. You break his arm, he comes back. He's beating Brock Lesnar. This to me is another test for Damian Priest. I think that speech that Cody Rhodes gave him on Monday Night Raw kind of maybe he's going to settle in here. He's a follower and not a leader. Maybe that riles up Damian Priest. But Cody Rhodes is the guy, man. He's probably got the best winning percentage in a year I've ever seen. And I think it just continues. I think Cody Rhodes gets the victory over Damian Priest. Listen, Damian Priest has got that. Listen, I think Damian Priest could cash this in on Drew. If he's going to cash on anybody, it could be Drew, could be Roman, and or LA Knight. Something's going to happen. Do you think with that Money in the Bank if Damian Priest loses? Because you've seen a lot where somebody loses that match and then they cash it in against somebody else on the very same night. So that could be a sequence. That's why you got to watch Crown Jewel. But I think at the end of the day, Cody Rhodes wins. But you got to watch Crown Jewel because they really went out of their way to say that he would cash it in at Crown Jewel. He might, but then he might not. But is there a chance that we can see a cash in?
At Crown Jewel, no, I don't think so. I get your point. I see where you're going with this, but I don't see it happening there particularly. I feel that what's going on with him and Cody is cool because first of all, it puts again Damian Priest in that light where he's in there with Cody Rhodes now. And Cody Rhodes is a main event guy, and it puts him in a good spot because you do want to continually emphasize the importance of being senior Money in the Bank, right? And that he's the next guy in line, and you're, Damian has a lot of those great attributes. So you're like, oh, this guy's is a future star, right? But in spite of going backwards real quick though, looking back at Cody and the scenario that after WrestleMania was over, I'm like, oh, what's going on here? We hope he doesn't go into obscurity. Has the scenario, has the time with Brock Lesnar, has that nice passing of the torch of Brock Lesnar that was unscripted. It was just done out of pure,
Brock being Brock.
Brock being Brock. And then winning the tag titles, and then people were like, "Oh, wait a minute here! Now he's a tag team champion," and people are now debating, "Oh, are they going in a different direction now? Is he not?" And then now he's back on the road, guys. He's made it. He's publicly announced that he's back on the road. His main focus has always been. But here's the thing, and here's the thing that we have to look forward to in the upcoming months, leading to Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, Mania, and obviously all the other premium live events in between. How is he going to get there though? Because he's on Raw. He has spoken about the world title being obviously a great accomplishment or a great goal to want to achieve, but that is not his goal because he's had it since day one when he came back. He had one goal in mind to hold a title that his father and his family never held. That's I think they're calling it the WWE Championship again. They're not calling it the universe. From
Well,
last time I saw SmackDown, they're calling it they're still calling it the Universal Championship. Or they're calling it the WWE Championship.
Well, I guess the world heavyweight champion Seth, and he's the WWE champion. But to me, it's the undisputed Universal Championship for what I thought.
Okay, because I heard LA Knight called it the WWE Championship,
Oh,
and
it's
then he
called
was
the
trying to
WWE
correct them on that. So, but to me, it is the WWE Championship, universal or not, it is.
But here's the thing,
That's
though.
the title that he always wants.
If he wins at Royal Rumble, he can choose. He doesn't have to actually cross over. So he can actually, if he
Yeah, no,
wants,
of course, no,
yeah.
yeah, I know, but trying to figure out is it going to happen at Rumble. I mean, is he going to win 2 in a row, or is it going to be somebody else, or is he going to get traded to SmackDown or whatever? But it's still there. But he's on the road now. He wants to go back and focus on the main goal he had right from the beginning after he lost at WrestleMania, that heartbreaking loss. One of the words that John Cena always used after when he lost to The Rock and that once in a lifetime, though we saw it twice in a row, redemption. That will be the point. Not finishing the story, but redemption now for a guy like Cody Rhodes. This is the first step on his road back there that he's focusing on. Damian's just in the way. But again, it's going to pin a great light on Damian Priest and the scenario of what he could do because at the end of the day, so let's talk about Cody, LA Knight, Roman, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins. The person in the background watching everything happen right now is Damian Priest in the Judgment Day. So that's always the
You
curve.
always talk with your hands.
Yes.
I've noticed you talk a lot with your hands on this episode, and
I
you
always have. You just don't see it because I'm in front of the camera.
authoritative,
My hands are down here.
like like you're telling me, and I'm believing everything you're saying. So obviously, I've not caught that before, and I think it works for you.
Well, it just shows you how much you've been paying attention to me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with this beautiful set that we've been given here on the Give Us a Shot Network, we can see more of you, which is a good thing sometimes, but a bad thing most times. There you go, and that's our banner.
The same about you.
Oh, you caught me there. You caught me.
Yeah,
But
you
yeah,
can't even pass the Trendsetter, man. It could be early in the morning right now. God, this could be at 1 or 2 in the morning. You never know. I don't need coffee because when I'm talking about stuff like this, I'm awake and you can't get anything past me.
but after this, we all have coffee powered by Fast Break Coffee, which sponsors the HSP podcast on the Give a Shot Network. Guys, yeah, that's all the card, man. So shame on me for missing Cody. But listen, so I'm gonna take Cody Rhodes.
Me too. I got Cody in this one.
All right. So Trendsetter, Go watch Crown Jewel, guys. Again, thank you, Trendsetter, for joining us. Follow us on our social media at High Spot Podcast. Give us a shot network, powered by Fast Break Coffee, fastbreak.coffee. Check out their products, amazing stuff. And I guess, Trendsetter, do what you do best and take us home.
Man, it's like riding a bike. You never forget how to do this, right? And it's always fun to do this, talking about a card that has a lot of potential in terms of the outcome of what could happen leading down the road to Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and that beautiful WrestleMania season, Jeff. Thank you so much for being part of this, guys. We really appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you so much. Enjoyed doing this card with you. Can't wait to do the next one down the road. Guys, you've been watching the High Spot Podcast. We are the Jersey, see my hands right there. We are the Jersey Wrecking Crew.
I start using my hands as well.
We have your playbook right there in your pen, like your little Mike Francesco thing you're doing here.
Mike
Exactly. Guys, we are the Jersey Rank Crew. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the High Spot Podcast. Remember, man, we've done this for one reason since day one. We're back on the road, Jeff. We're back on the road, you and I here, because we do this for one reason and one reason only. We do this for you guys, the crew.
Enjoy it. Crown Jewel.